Hey up, how do, and welcome to series 3 of Loose Lips. We took a bit of a hiatus. Obviously, there was a lot going on and is still going on in the world. The movement, Black Lives Matters, been getting fully behind that and invested in that. And also, obviously, it feels like life is picking up pace as well again, with the lockdown easing and stuff. So, took a bit of a hiatus, stepped back, and wanted to spring back into action with a third series, which would keep you all proud and know that it will be something that will be maintained after lockdown as well. So for my first guest, she's just actually come to the group, sent me the request. I'm going to accept the one and only Danielle Moore.
Hello.
Hey, mate, how are you?
I'm okay. I'm okay, thank you. How are you?
I'm blessed. I'm blessed for having you.
Oh, that's very kind.
Mate, no, it's properly kind you giving me your time now that we're Facebook friends and that.
Well, best mates.
Yeah, proper bezies. I feel like at gigs we're best mates. I feel like we sort of like two beacons, like we're like lighthouses. You on stage and me in the crowd, like we're lighthouses. And
I've spotted you.
I know we've had some
Guiding me
good
to
moments.
safety. Guiding me to safety.
Yeah, a few times we've had some good moments, but that's one of the things I wanted to speak to you about is like the interaction that you have on crowd. It's synonymous with your live performances, and the energies that you all give is so cool. And this is a Glastonbury special, so I want to sort of focus a bit on Glastonbury, and then we'll go into your career as a whole. But when you have that connection already, what is it like at Glastonbury? Is it even more heightened, or is it, because you're already getting involved, or do you still get more given at a place like that?
I think, oh gosh, Glastonbury is an incredibly unique place, and without getting hippie about it, because I'm not hippie, but the vibrations at that festival are unique and incredible. I mean, it's a city, so to kind of be asked to play live at somewhere like Glastonbury is completely different to anything else you do, because you've got to think about all the people that are incidentally coming to watch you, all the people that have never heard of you, never seen you before, and then also your kind of loyal fan base. And every stage is kind of equipped with the best sound engineers, the best stage managers, the best, back of stage team. And there is nothing that can prepare you for the nerves, the exhilaration of when you walk on stage. So I think we're fortunate that we come at it as a family and a group of people that are very, very good friends. Glastonbury is a very, very special, unique place to perform. It really is.
Me and some mates went to see you. Was it you playing Sonic on the Thursday? Not the
Yeah,
Thursday, the Sunday, sorry.
that's right. Yeah. I mean, to be honest, Glastonbury's, by the time you get to the Sunday, although we keep ourselves fresh, of course, for any performances, but yeah, they can be a bit of a blur. So you tell me.
Well, do you know what was funny? Is like we got in and it was proper rammed, and we managed to get like a good spot, and it was rammed, but it was rammed like to the point where people could still dance. And I don't see people throwing shapes anymore, really. Everyone just sort of like just stood, but there, everybody was throwing shapes. It was
Are you
good.
talking about, are you talking about last year?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was. You're completely right. It was the Sunday, and it was Sonic.
Yeah.
I couldn't remember the name of the stage at first, but yeah, and it was kind of like semi-covered,
Yeah.
and then still out at the back, didn't it?
Yeah.
In the afternoon, and it was hot.
Yeah, it was proper hot, and it was proper hot inside the tent as well. But everyone was just dancing, passing around water and everything else. It was good. It was a good crew of people.
Yeah.
Because you just recently, I think, were it a couple months before, dropped the new album.
That's right. Yeah.
So how did you find playing, like mixing some of the new stuff as well with the old classics?
it's always a big decision to make that, because you kind of don't know whether you should honour where you're at, or at a festival bring out the hits. But the problem with us is we actually haven't got any hits. So
Don't be daft.
we've not, we've never kind of smashed radio. We've never had that platform, which is fine.
I'm with
So,
you.
yeah, we've always kind of had to gig, and that's kind of what we love doing. So when you play somewhere like Glastonbury, you kind of you wonder whether or not you should go back in your catalogue and cherry pick all the ones that you've been told are your kind of more, accessible songs, or whether you just go, do you know what, this is where we're at. So we decided to throw a couple of oldies in there, but mainly represent where we were at, which was also quite scary, because well, you're just taking a risk with playing new stuff,
Yeah.
even with people that know you, or they've been loyal to you. It's a risk, but it really works. And I think there was a lot of things that came together: where we played, the time of day we played. It was just a fantastic vibe.
I think as well the message behind the new album is very social.
Yeah.
It's looking basically at the system. Do you know what I mean? And us as our place in it. So there's the bit when you've got the placard as well,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
but I think like as well, that's what puts it over in a sense of, when you said hits before, and why I sort of went, you've not got hits, but how you explained it, we've got favourites, but I know what you mean. Essentially, they're not like hits as in, charted maybe, but there's such like cult favourites. But yeah, it's interesting to see how you like weigh the two up, because I felt, in the middle of the set, you were proper showing the new ones, and it was a good time to like embrace that, because I think another thing what Glasto allows you to do is just experiment. I think like that's it. It's like if people don't like it, they can leave, but more people will stay because they're just in that vibe and they're enjoying what it's about.
Yeah, and I think the really, when you do a gig like that, what you really hope for, or what we hope for, or what I hope for, is that we're all buzzing off each other on stage. And I think if one person's particularly nervous, or one person's not had a great day, or something's going on, you try and lift that person's spirits. And I think we were all pooing it we were all pooing it backstage, but the adrenaline, you hope at the very last minute it turns into energy.
Yeah.
That we just got it right. And you can never ever 100% guarantee that when you walk on stage, all the nerves are going to leave you, and you're going to just suddenly feel like a superpower. But more often than not, it does with us. And I think that's because we have a real connection with each other, and we've been through it so many times. The nerves never leave us, nor does the kind of the knowledge that we're really privileged to be still going. We are. So when you walk out we never expected that many people at that gig at Glastonbury last year. And then you turn out and you can see, for one reason and another, lots of smiling faces. And as you say, everyone was moving and dancing around, and it was such a good vibe. So that transfers from us to you, and from you to us. And that connection, which is what you first said, is so important, because without that, you've got nothing. You haven't got anything.
It's like I find it's like an ecosystem where it's like and it's funny to hear you say, because I do stand up as well, and I was describing it to somebody yesterday, as recent as yesterday. I was saying, do you get nervous? And it's like, I'd lie if I said I didn't get nervous, but I find nerves and excitement are two sides of the same coin. So it's about alchemizing the nerves so that you do have that energy as you walk on stage. So it's interesting that you find that as well, because you've got to utilize the nerves. I think the nerves put you in that moment, and if you're not in that moment, you're taking it for granted.
Absolutely. And it's like I say, I mean, hats off to you, Ben, for doing stand-up comedy, because I have this fear watching a stand-up comedian that at any given point in time heckling might happen, and I you know, that would be something I don't know whether or not I could handle. But however, having said that, the similarities, as you just say, is I'm still doing a live performance.
Yeah.
Someone heckles me on stage, if I know I've got the crowd, bring it on.
Yeah, you give it back.
Bring it on and
You
give it
fully
back.
give it back, but like you, because you know we're all there with you, so you fully do give it back. And I mean, I've been at a gig where someone's not heckled, but they've just been a bit, and you've like shut them down straight away. And I think it adds to like the whole. I don't know. I know it's you, but it's an extension. It's like a performance, even though it's genuine. Do you know what I mean? And it's like is it the maitre d'? Like you're leading the charge.
Yeah, it's the reality of the situation. You know, you don't not if you didn't have that crowd interaction, whatever it is, you know, it's not it would feel too sterile and too polished, and you know, that's probably the difference between, say, a classical gig and a live raucous. You know, you're giving a message, or you're telling stories or jokes or whatever, and people react to it. And without that noise and without that feedback, whatever it is, you've not really got a show. So, yeah, I love it.
Does that come into play with planning a set list, for example, then? Because it might be that you'll do a few shows, you'll know that it's really smooth, but then it gets too safe. So then it's weird, and it's almost like double jeopardy. It's like, we've got this really good now, but it's feeling a bit, you know, should we lift it a bit and switch it? But that's where the risk is.
Absolutely. And that's it, isn't it? It's like, without putting yourself in a position where you're not getting nervous about making the right choices, then you're never going to move forward. And I think that's why we needed to get the balance right with the set choice at Glastonbury, which was, do we just do all the oldies that people know, or do we say, you know what, we feel like we've spent a long time in the studio writing this new album, it's got a message, which is something which was quite new to us. We'd never really written lyrics, or I hadn't, with such a reflection on the current situation in the world and politics and, you know, people. It was an observation of society. And I feel if you can't spread that message at Glastonbury, then
Where can you? Yeah.
And also, like you say, yeah, it's important to keep the show fresh for your own energy. So yeah, it is thought about in the when we're choosing the set.
You know, when you are writing something that is so conscious around the society, I mean, this is going to sound such a paradox, but like the music, I'd say, describe yourself as like disco, funk, very house influenced. It all came from oppression, yet people might not straight away think that a lot of the lyrics at face value would be tackling things that are societal, even though the music was born of that. And if you break down the lyrics, they really are. So was it a massive leap coming from the sort of music that you've written previously to write about, you know, issues of society?
It was just very, for want of a better word, organic. It happened very naturally, and I think a lot of it. I mean, at the time that the album was written, it was around the Brexit time, and so subconsciously, even though consciously I had very, I had my own opinions about it. Subconsciously, it was affecting me on a daily basis. You know, kind of seeing what people thought of each other. It lifted a lid on something that I don't think we were ever going to put the lid back on. You know, we've got to address certain things together now. And whilst a lot of things initially seemed to create debate and argument and division, I think we've got to look forward now. And I'm not saying Brexit was a good thing. The actual vote, the decision to have a referendum, I'm not sure that was a good thing at all. But I think we've got to look at coming together and somehow communicating better. So I think subconsciously it was affecting me on a personal basis every day. So by the time we got together to write the album, I couldn't stop what was coming out my gob. It was like nothing else seemed to be there. And I write very much from an emotional. I don't come with lyrics. It's whatever the chords suggest or whatever a particular rhythm brings out. But seemingly everything that was coming out was about how I felt about society. So it just happened very naturally.
Did it feel quite cathartic then in that sense? Was it a real good release?
Yeah, and you may or may not have noticed that there's a few swear words thrown in there because I was livid. So it did feel, and holding those signs up in the live shows, you know, it felt, come on, you know, like just a cathartic, a release.
And
Very
then what's it like when you've put that onto a body of work, and then, as you say, you sort of leave that place because you've released it, and then you've got to step back into that place when you're like live? Or does it, because it's a different paradigm, does it take a different stance, the music now?
Well, I think fortunately, when I wrote it and in the environment that I wrote it in, I think the lyrics are still personal to me. So wherever I take those lyrics, they still mean as much as when they first kind of came out. So they still feel. I mean, although we've not performed live for ages, I imagine revisiting wherever I go, from it's the kind of, you know, the very origins to wherever I take them, they have as much meaning and as much power coming from me to whoever or wherever I'm playing.
So every sort of song, like, because I would have assumed, like, and I've never written a song, so I don't know why I'm assuming this, but like, you write it, once it's released and it's on record, it's out to the world, and then everybody has their opinion and their take, and, you know, reads their own subtle messages or subliminal messages or their own intake on it. And that's the beauty of art and music, how accessible it is, and it attaches to our own emotions. And then I thought that might play with, like, when it's live, you tuning in on that energy, but you still like have like a receptor to where it actually is.
Yeah, definitely you do, because I think the difference between writing some of the more emotional lyrics, then I can feel that people interpret them differently, and you will go with that feeling with whatever. But with the more social observation and lightly political, it's very much coming from me, and it's very much you will have this and you will listen to this, and can leave me like with a slight kind of like tingling feeling of like, right, I've got that one out, you know.
Yeah.
And it feels good, and like I say, it's very different lyrically for me, and I felt very different performing those kind of lyrics.
That's it to it.
I actually had to slow down a little bit with moving around the stage to get the lyrics out, because they were important to get the lyrics out rather than just the melodies.
Yeah, I think that's what I mean, is like, you know, I think there's a mad juxtaposition sometimes with the beats to sometimes what the lyrics are, especially getting from what we're saying, and it's upbeat dance, but there's a proper heartfelt, sometimes pain there. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. With this, you really like more still and, you know, shoulders out almost, and like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like proper, like.
Totally. Yeah, that's it. It's it was really, sometimes when you're in a live situation, your breathing alters anyway. You know, you kind of have to, probably takes about 10 minutes for you to regulate your breathing properly. So it was important that it was after that where we got the kind of faster, more pacier, rhythmic, lyrical tunes, when I got my breath a bit more, and I had to remember to not jump around the stage, kicking and, you know, rolling around. It was important to get that out. So yeah, I had to think about it a bit more.
That's it. I
Yeah.
mean, going to the origins of Crazy P, then take us back, chart us back, and tell us like how you all got to like be.
So, Jim Barron from Bass Jam and Tim Davis, who plays bass, they met in Wales. They went to school together. So Jimmy's very much kind of like Jim and Toddy, Chris Todd. They're kind of like the main kind of guys who started Crazy Penis.
Yeah.
Oh, Jim knew Tim back from Wales. Jim moved to Nottingham, as did Chris, to study, both on different courses. But through friends, they met, came together. They were both into the same kind of music. They had a couple of bits and pieces, and they started kind of taking samples from various tunes, chopping them up, and making their own stuff. They tried to take that live, which basically involved them both stood behind laptops, messing about with stuff, and they just said it didn't work. It looked boring. There was nothing really to it. So they were looking for a singer, and I lived in a shared house at the time in Manchester, and we used to have quite a few after parties there. I had my deck set up in my bedroom, and they walked into my bedroom, and it was after it was the label they were signed to, Paper Recordings. They used to have a night in Manchester called Robo Disco, and after Robo Disco, everyone came back to ours. And apparently, and I don't remember this for various reasons, I've got a bad memory. I was entertaining a room full of people doing Shirley Bassey impressions, and they walked in and said, "Do you sing?" And I went, "Yeah." And I didn't. I ended up going for an audition with them, and it just worked. And at the time, I had a full-time job at head office at Adidas, and I wasn't dead happy there. It wasn't my thing. I wasn't enjoying it. I didn't see a future there, and the kind of quite slowly the band came together, and I could never ever ever have expected from when we met in late 1999 2000 for it to still be going now, and it's been a really real roller coaster of a journey, but I wouldn't change one single thing, even though in the early years, in fact, not too long ago, we were skint. To kind of run a full band is heavy work financially and mentally, but we did it, and we fortunately got a break when Faithless asked us to go on tour with them, and it wasn't I'm not really a massive Faithless fan, but to get an opportunity where they actually came to us and asked us in think it was 2005, we had to get ourselves ready to go on this arena tour. So we were playing places like Brixton Academy, the SEC, the Manchester Arena, Hull Ice Rink. And that was a massive change for us, because we were allowed to kind of explore how to really perform on a big stage in front of a big audience. And I think that's where things changed a little bit for us.
Did that change in your own mindset as well, where you felt, this is like the tier, another level, let's go for it and remain on it?
Absolutely. I think as well, it would be important to say in 2004, we had like a festival tour of Australia, and we'd been going to Australia since 2001, and we'd done all right over there. It was weird because we'd not done all right anywhere else, and we went over there, and on the same lineup was Moloko.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
So they headlined. We didn't. We were down the bill, but we all travelled together, and Moloko were the highlight of the festival, and their energy, their performance as a band. I mean, Machine's incredible anyway, but as a band, the way they looked, the various kind of planned moves, you know, at various points in the set. It taught us so much that I think we took inspiration from them, and come the Faithless tour, we had some ideas of what we had to do on a big stage.
It's as you say, Rasheen, because there's definitely, you can see like similarities in like the family tree. It's almost like, yeah, that was leading to that. Because she's an incredible performer, like, and the way that she thinks about the visuals as well, that just, it's just everything. It's like it becomes 4D almost.
I mean, she's exceptional, and I think when I've heard her, like in interviews, when she's been interviewed, she explains that off stage she's and I can relate to this. Like, people expect sometimes for your offstage personality to be very similar to the one that they see on stage, and they want that person on stage, and it's like that's not what I am. And she was explaining that, you know, off stage she can be quite shy, and it's when she walks on stage that she becomes this explosive character and this 4D character. I mean, she's an incredibly creative thinker, lyrically, visually, the outfits that she wears. But yeah, that was their last tour together as Moloko as well. And it was superb. It was absolutely superb. And yeah, it brought us closer together as a team of performers, and it inspired us. And you know, it's good to be inspired. It's not, you're not necessarily copying.
No.
You can be inspired, because it's like, this is how it can be done, and that feeling is just fantastic. And then we kind of realized that we also had to kind of have different formulas of the live band, which is when the sound system came on board, which is DJ singing, because we had to do that really to carry on surviving.
That's so the first thing, you know, about like inspiration is like everything's inspiration, and that's what art is really, is taking from it and putting your own spin and personality into it, and then through that grows your own persona. So like I completely believe in that, you know, taking a shine of somebody like that. But also, like, it makes so much sense now. Like, I bet you just be able to just like pick her head or watch closely. Do you know, like when you're in a crowd, you watch as a punter, but when you're on tour, you're watching differently, aren't you? You're really like obsessing really over like visualizing yourself in that situation.
Absolutely. And I think one thing as well that you know, I've worked out is that you have to look at what you can do rather than what you can't do.
Yeah.
I could pull myself to bits for all the things I can't do. My voice isn't, it's not dead strong. I've not got a belt it out massive range of you know, notes that I can hit confidently. But it's working with what you can do, and naturally through practice and experience, you take risks, and you lose the fear of taking risks. And yeah, it's that's where you start to grow.
Yeah, I've found that this is becoming a bit of a mantra, but like vulnerability, like the power of vulnerability is where the strength lies. And once you realize, you go into that, and you know, you might miss a note, but you've grown so much in attempting it that you know that note's there in range. Or I don't know, like for me it's same with performing comedy or what have you. You know, you go with the room, and sometimes you might go, but I shouldn't have gone there, but you never know, like. And it's and you know what else you realize is, it's not the worst thing if it didn't come off. It's like, oh well. And I think
Yeah,
that's the biggest realization is, oh, is that it? Like, right, more.
that's exactly it. It's like, you know, just you know, there's been many a time that I've chosen the wrong outfit, or seen the outfit on someone else, and I look like, you know, when I've tried the same outfit on, I've looked like I'm just about to go in the oven. It's like I've got too much aluminium on. But it's like, or I've split my pants. And, you know, it's like, you just get on with it. You know, or you go for a note and you don't quite, but it's all right, because the thing is, as a performer, finding your strengths, you don't have to be the best.
Mm.
That's not what creativity is about. It's about
It's been
expression.
real.
It's being real, and it's being honest to yourself.
And that moment as well, it's been
Yeah,
true to that moment as well. Like, I fully believe that. I think, like, people will get if you're not on point, if you're giving it your all in that moment.
absolutely. That's exactly it. And people can suss out if you're really struggling. And unfortunately, rarely in the past few years have I ever gone on stage without kind of going, right, come on. But I think people have spotted when I've been a little bit tired, or when I've been doing too much, and it's almost like the audience will clock it and lift me.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's a really wonderful feeling, because they know that you're coming from a good place, and that mainly you're coming from a real place. So again, it's back to that interaction.
The ecosystem.
Yeah.
No, I do respect that, because sometimes it's like who lifts who up, and that's it. It's us lifting us all up, isn't it? It's like, you know, when you're in a special crowd, like, you know, when you're just like looking around. And I tell you, one where you had a really good crowd was Leeds International Festival, in that weird like dome thing, and you were headlining on
Oh, right. Yeah.
one of the Saturdays, and that was a good crowd.
Yeah, that was I mean, there's always a great crowd in Leeds. I think it's a special city for music. You know, it really is. And that you know, there's the Leeds, what's the specific?
Inner City Electronic.
Inner City Electronic is brilliant, because of all the kind of peripheral stuff they have on as well, with all the talks.
Yeah.
And it's just, people turn up. People turn up. They don't take it for granted. They turn up and support it. And I think, you know, you always get that sense. I think when we play in Leeds, we get that sense of, yeah, privilege.
Do you feel, because I've got to be good, well, mates with Ralph Lawson as well, so do you feel like, obviously, the 2020 link as well, do you feel that's why you might have a bit of an affinity with Leeds?
Yeah, Ralph, definitely. I mean, Ralph's been amazing for us. You know, we kind of, we had a good run with 2020. And I think Ralph gave us some good support, and that label definitely gave us an extra affinity with Leeds. We'd already got with Tom and Bonner,
Yeah.
and Steve Allison,
Yeah.
when Andy Whittaker used to live in Leeds. He's now, he worked for Ralph for a while, and he's now in London. I'm not sure what he does, but we used to come to Leeds for a gig, and we'd be there 3 days later. So, some of us still partying, some of us crying. You know, like, I need to get home. But we'd always know that we had to write off a couple of days when we came to Leeds, because that was whenever we did the what was it? It was at the Faversham, and Tom and
The
Bonnie.
garden party.
The garden party was amazing. Yeah. So we've yeah, there's always been a good group of people in Leeds. Ralph, you know, right up there. Ralph has always been right up there.
You know, when you said you were at the house party where it all happened, that you loosely, vaguely remember being Shirley Bassey and that, were you a DJ before then? Because I've seen you DJ, I've seen you spin, I've played as well at Good Life with you, and like, I like you on the decks, but I didn't know that was way back thing. I might have thought it might have been a process of, you know, been in Crazy P, you done DJing because you can get booked separately. But so would you say DJing was one of your first loves as well?
Definitely. I mean, music was always there somewhere, you know, whether it was me going out dancing, and even if, you know, it was me stood at the back of a room just dancing all night and on my own. I'd not gone out with anyone. I always wanted to go out dancing. I was always interested in the club scene, the music scene. and sweating at a weekend. And then I think my sister was the first person. She's younger than me. She got a pair of decks. She used to collect vinyl, and then I kind of started to have a bit of spare cash, and I did the same. And I used to love the process of going into Piccadilly Records, and I had someone behind there who would always pick out some music for me, and I'd listen to it. And it's quite a scary thing to go in a record shop, because it was always a very male dominated arena. And fortunately, I met a couple of girls who worked in Piccadilly, and they were like, "Come in, have a listen. You know, it's all right. We'll sort you out." And it kind of gets quite addictive, and it becomes quite a sociable place, a meeting place. So yeah, I started doing that in about 95. And yes, so yeah, I was DJing at little parties, or usually not getting paid, but that wasn't important. It was just being able to play music that I loved. But yeah, DJing came first, really.
Would you say, in that respect, with the like male-dominated world, how have you, in the conversation with equality, how have you seen that change over time? Because I know that a couple of years ago there was some like initiative that Leeds and Reading Festival started. Well, Festival Republic, the parent company, which was to look to create more female-led headliners and also sound techs and stuff like that. So how have you found it over the course of your career in moving? Is it moving for the better, and is it moving fast enough?
Uh, whether it's moving fast enough, I don't know. But I think really after lockdown, I think it potentially could be a more open platform, because I do think, I mean, I have no idea what's going to happen, but I do think that there's going to be massive changes. Like, you're not going to have the big arenas anymore, where you've got kind of the more, for want of a better term, superstar DJs, where the massive headliners, because there's so many good, really good, understated DJs, local DJs, whether they're male, female. There's so many good female DJs. They really are. And probably layers and layers of reasons why it's not been a balanced arena, layers and layers. But it is a conversation that needed to happen, because it can become, when you've got a line of work where everyone is one sex, whether it's male or female, you kind of start to only ask that gender of people to work with you. So a male dominated festival, it's usually friends that you ask. So whether I don't know whether it's purposely developed like that and stagnated. And then the question arose about, why is there a lack of female representation? But at least that conversation was had.
Yeah.
At least it was had, and at least it's still in the forefront of people's minds that there does need to be more female presence. And it doesn't just have to be females who are good looking and marketed well, and it's people that play bloody good music. And there are so many out there, and I just think they're going to get more opportunity.
I was going to say, because, as we sort of step out of lockdown and it looks like it will be lower capacities for the foreseeable, when it does step back to, crowds being around next to one another, which I can't wait for, I cannot. Watching Glastonbury this weekend has just sent me off it. Like, I can't. But it does feel like no one's going to be wanting to pay those like superstar DJ fees, and it won't be feasible. So it does seem like anybody that is coming through or has a bit of a reputation around, or even if they're a bedroom DJ and are looking to step out, this is the time to approach. So would you have any like advice, or how to be seen, or how to get spotted?
Run out on the street naked. There's one option. I think it's, I mean, I don't know whether I'm the right person to ask, because maybe I was lucky in the sense that I did meet the guys at the time I did. I was relatively older. I was 29, 30. So, you know, I'm touching 50 now, and even we're doing better than we've ever done before. But it's almost at a point in time when the knees are getting a little bit, you know, worn, and the ankles are giving up. It's so my thing is to, if you love music, get out into the clubs, be seen, dance, be the life and soul of the party, or be whatever you need to be within that social scene. Be you, be true to yourself. Don't be anything but that. And I don't know, maybe have an after party and DJ at it, and maybe get some of your mates to spin a few records, or have little gatherings, put them on yourself. Nobody has to get paid initially. That's what we did. We did things for nothing. I'm not saying that people shouldn't get paid for work that they do, but we've got so many different platforms as well to advertise on that we never had when we first started. So use all your social media, get stuff out there, you know, enjoy it. I don't think there's one piece of advice that would definitely get you noticed, but keep sending your mixes off. You know, you can get platforms on social media now where you can live stream your stuff. Enjoy it. Do it for the right reasons. Don't do it to be famous, because that's not generally going to happen.
Yeah, and also it's not about the fame. It's not about the fame.
It shouldn't be. But that's the thing with a lot of the higher paid DJs and the ones that have made it. There was that period of time where that adoration was, you know, it was right. This is the name. We're going to go and see it. We're going to go and pay 30 quid to go and see this one DJ. That was a period of time, and I think there's young up and coming DJs, male, female, that are better.
I feel the house party angle's the one to
House
go,
parties,
because
absolutely.
you've got your gathering there, and then when it does move to a bar, you've already got like your foot soldiers who'll come through, which will then impress the bar owners, because they'll be like, oh, they're bringing footfall through, so that's all good. And then before you know it, it creates its own thing. There's so many nights I think house parties was underrated, actually.
Yeah, totally. I do. I think the intimacy of a smaller crowd and of a, you know, house party, there's something very unique about that. There really is. I mean, I'm just not. I like everything to be kind of quite accessible and be able to buzz off people in a bigger crowd. It doesn't suit me. I'm not dissing it, but you know, Glastonbury's different. We're not talking Glastonbury just now, but yeah, I think there's a lot more opportunity for people to do it, but do it for the right reasons. Do it because you love it.
So how are you yourself and Crazy P stepping out of lockdown? Do you know any news? Obviously, touring's probably going to be on the back burner for the time being, but is there going to be any material? Are you speaking about anything like that?
Well, we've got a couple of things that are near completion. Because we've not been able to come together just yet. They need finishing off together, so they're nearly there. We've probably got about 4 or 5 songs that are nearly there, and we thought obviously they'd be out there by now, but they're nearly. Like I say, it just needs for us all to be able to get together to just tweak them and get them right. Jim has been writing kind of quite prolifically while he's been on lockdown. He's got a family, you see, so it's really benefited him being at home with his 2 young children and his partner, and then being able to kind of go off and write his own stuff, run bass jam. I've not found it as easy, because for the reasons we've talked about, I buzz off people, I buzz off social situations, and the way I've kind of kept myself busy has been doing a little radio show on a Sunday, doing some mixes, doing, you know, this, and but we're hoping that in the next few weeks we'll be able to come together, either the 3 of us or maybe the 5 of us, and lock something down and get some things finished off. The gig wise, we are seeing a couple of things coming through that might involve outdoor spaces where you might do 3 sets during the day, 2 hours each,
Okay.
and they'll probably be DJing or sound system. I doubt very much the live gigs are going to happen till the end of the year. So we've kind of got, and it's going to be small crowds, and they're going to kind of rotate throughout the day. So you'll have a crowd for 2 hours. They'll go out, they'll clean everywhere. Then you'll have another crowd for another 2 hours. So it'll be quite tiring, but I'm ready to get out. Just missing people, missing observing people. So we've got something on the horizon.
I'm having that as an exclusive. I'm going to take.
Got it. You're out. You've got it. I've given it you.
Yes, mate. I love that. I love that.
Yeah.
I mean, I suppose the final one's from me then, and I've got the end one's just going to be a real geeky one, right? But when you sort of like thinking about how lockdown's been, did you do something with La Discotheque?
Yes. Yeah.
So how have you like found adapting to do stuff like that? How does it feel compare? Obviously, not comparing because one's better than the other, but has it still been some form of connection and release? Have you still found it pleasurable to do?
Oh God, we were buzzing our titties off. It was like when we got asked to do the discotheque, what it meant was that we had to, or we chose to get up to the venue in
Albert Hall.
No, it was. Oh, what you're talking? The lockdown gig for La Discotheque?
Yeah.
That it wasn't the Albert Hall. It was a secret venue.
Ah, okay.
Yeah. So basically, it was like, oh my God, it was like being reborn again. Getting in a car, driving up there. We had to have a letter, all authorised. And when we arrived, we had to phone them, and they came out and met us with all the masks on and stuff, and the gloves, and it was like going into a doctor's surgery. But actually being in a venue again, even though there was nobody there apart from the officials, so there was about 8 people, and everyone was kind of considered, and we were kind of mainly just performing to 2 cameras, and I had to stand quite still because of the lighting and because of the camera. He couldn't kind of get too close, but the excitement of actually being on a stage again and knowing, because they had a big screen behind us and people were projecting Zoom calls onto the wall, and everyone was dancing, so it felt amazing. Obviously it's no substitution for an audience, but throughout this period, which is incomparable, it was like, wow. Yeah, it was amazing.
And I have to give a lot of love to La Discotheque. It is one of the best nights out there. I mean, off the back of that, which would you say your favourite brands are to play for?
Oh God.
Have you done some stuff with Glitterbox?
Yeah, we've done a couple of things, mainly in Ibiza at High. They play there. So we've done a couple of the lads have done a couple of things. We were actually due to play there next month at Glitterbox in Ibiza. It would have been my first time there, so we were going to do the sound system, but obviously that's kind of been put back to next year. The discotheque it's a great one because it originated in Manchester, and it's nice to see people that I know doing really well and loving what they're doing. All the dancers, it's a proper show. So yeah, that's probably one of my favourites. And we played at Pikes in Ibiza. I know that's, well, I suppose it is a brand, but that's so intimate, and just to play at a place where the history of that place is so incredible. I think that was a big one for me.
Yeah, I've had a lot of mates who go to Pikes, and they're just I need to get myself there. I've heard a lot of the stories. Yeah, I need to get myself there.
Yeah, and it's the people that you go with as well, because it is so intimate. And I think another one is the Liverpool Disco Festival and the Brixton Disco Festival. They're just run by good people. They're run by really good people. So yeah, we've been lucky.
You know, right? I was gonna go to my geek. In fact, let me ask my geeky question, and then you just saying that made me think, oh, I've got to ask you about that as well. So my geeky question is, how do you protect your voice? Like, is there any tips of like warming it up and training it, and if it gets drained, how to recover?
I mean, I'm not always angelic with protection of my voice, even though I get really kind of quite worried about it. But the main thing is sleep. The main thing is you've got to get your sleep in, which is sometimes quite difficult if you're on tour, because you're not always, when you have a moment of relaxation or a period of time that you could rest, you're not always tired. So the most important things are hydration, drinking plenty of water, things like lemon, ginger, honey, turmeric, tea, just mixing all those ingredients together and keeping the inflammation down, keeping hydrated, sleep. And then there's lots of different warm-ups you can do, which I'm not going to do now because they mainly involve things like doing yawn moves and sticking your tongue right out and making little humming noises at the back of your throat. But it would be very easy to be naive about your voice, but at the end of the day, it's
your instrument.
It's your instrument. It's like being an Olympic athlete. Well, you've got to look after it.
You've got to stretch it. No, yeah. That's why it was a geeky question, because I really wanted to know if there was any advice. Like, do you do it every day, or do you do it just before you're about to practice?
Do you know what? That's a really good question, and you've just made me feel really guilty, but not in a very bad way. But I think during this period of time, I've probably not trained as much as I should have done with my voice, because there's been other things that I've probably just neglected it. So I think because of you, tonight, maybe not tonight actually, because it's been a long weekend, my first long weekend. Tomorrow I'm going to get the salted water out and gargle, because that's another good one, salted water.
Hot water or cold water?
Kind of lukewarm, so a bit more warm than cold, but that kind of, and just gargle with it for about 30 seconds. And because the salt acts as like it's antibacterial, I suppose. But yeah, I'm going to start doing maybe half an hour to an hour of practice. It's a very good point, that, Ben.
Thank you. You gave me an exclusive, so I gave you that back. Yeah, I love that exchange.
I appreciate that.
And the final one from me, and thank you for your time as well. Honestly, I've been buzzing about it, and it's been a right chat.
Thanks for asking me.
The final one is, it came to me as you were saying, been booked by good people. I was like, I was there. You played what I would consider one of the biggest lineups that Manchester's seen for our sort of music, when it was Greg Wilson, yourself, and Chic at Castlefield Ball.
Oh my God. I mean, yeah. That was special. My mum and dad were there independently of each other, and I actually spotted both of them in the crowd. But the best thing about that day was the sun was out. I mean, it was boiling. And I remember the train, when we were on stage, the train was coming past on the right-hand side on the bridge, and it stopped. I remember waving at it, and it was little things like that. That was a very, very special day. And also Chris Todd, who's always been a Nile Rodgers fan. In fact, we call him the White Nile because of the way he plays guitar. And they actually met. Nile Rodgers was just coming off stage. We were going on to sound check, and they hugged each other.
Oh.
Pre-COVID. But yeah, they hugged each other, and it was a really beautiful little moment. That was a really good one. That was, yeah, well remembered.
The energy of that, it's because one of the memories came up, and me and my mate shirtless, just swinging about, just like it was carnage. That was a good year. That was a real good gig.
Yeah, it was good.
And then just like the addition of Greg Wilson, just doing what he does in between, it was just crazy. I think, you know, yourselves, him, obviously Niall's like the greatest, but bring it back to, you know, being true to the scene. Greg Wilson and yourselves are doing us proud, man. So to see yous with Niall and Sheik was a proper salute moment. It was like, yes, respect.
Yeah, nice one. Yeah, it was special. That really special.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much. I can't wait to actually get to see you get a proper gig now that we know that we're lighthouses.
Yes. Now we know. Now we know. I'll look out for you, love.
Perfect. And thank you for that exclusive. And we'll be sure to keep out for an eye out for the new material as well. But you take care. Enjoy those voice vocal exercises.
Will do. Thanks, Ben.
Stay cool as always, man. Bless you. Peace.
Lots of love.
You too. Bye.
Bye.
How ace was that? First chat back, series 3, feature 1, first chat. Danielle Moore, Crazy P, boom, 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 shake the room. That's how we're getting down today. Amazing. This is a Glastonbury special. Wait, right. So I need to, anyone who's on the messages, Lookman16 WT, shout out. I respect you asking about AFTV. Once the season's back up and running, I'm sure I'll be back at more games. So I will be giving a bit of a chat about my games, and also, mate, I'll see if I can speak about what's been happening in lockdown as well. But back to Loose Lips. So thank you, Laura. Thank you, Lexi. Thank you, everybody who's been vibing to that chat. Thank you, everybody who's been connecting. Obviously, we're going to look forward to new Crazy P music, which should be just around the corner. Shout out Dwayne as well. So if you're new to this is Loose Lips. What I do is chat with people from all around the world, sharing their stories, their tales. Go find all our previous back catalogues, first 2 series on YouTube, site Pop Cult Chic, and you can find that there, or likewise on Instagram, go to pop.cult.chic. Today, as we start in series 3, it is a celebration to Glastonbury. So everybody that's going to be chatting today is going to be speaking about Glastonbury. Jason has just sent me a request, but I'm going to finish this chat and start a new one at 4. So everybody come back at 4. Jason's going to be speaking with us about a different angle that we might not see at Glastonbury, which is behind the scenes around the Westholts area. And we're going to hear some good tales and memories from him from that as well. Also, at 5 o'clock, spread the word, people. At 5 o'clock, it's your opportunity to come live with me and share with me your greatest Glastonbury stories. They can be as wrong, as naughty, as funny, as euphoric as they want to be. Feel free at 5 o'clock to come back and share your best Glasto tales with me. And then at 6 p.m, we're going to be speaking with Gab Winterfield, who is the lead singer of Jaguar Ma. So, all celebrating Glastonbury. Incredible lineup today. Thank you for everybody that stopped through. I'll be back in 3 minutes, as I say, speaking with Jay Brown about Glastonbury Westholts. Peace and light, everybody.